Hi ladies and gentlemen, in this video I am going to discuss, and as usual I'm going to keep it as short as possible, although I don't know if that is going to work. I'm going to discuss, the topic for today is going to be, or for this video is going to be, whether spirits or the spirits that a magician summons and or works with, whether those are an invention of the mind, whether those are a psychological aspect of one's brain or something similar. Are they an invention of the mind? Okay, and especially the practitioners of the occult, Western occultism, well-known magical workbooks or grimoires, as they are called the Goetia, for example. And a perfect example is the Goetia. A perfect example of the Goetia, magical workbooks like the Goetia. These books, in the beginning, in the prologue, I think, or in the beginning in any case, what the editor, it depends on the version, but generally speaking, the editor or the person that has edited the book, or somebody makes a statement, a well-known magician that like Aleister Crowley, for example, that the spirits summoned within that magical system are the product of one's mind, and that the tools that you use are nothing more than implements used to bring you in the right state of mind. Basically similar like being able to dance because you're drunk, and when you're not drunk, when you're of a sound mind, when you're sober, that you can't even dance even remotely and you're embarrassing yourself. That's the point that they want to make, and the answer to that is plain and simply no, N-O. Before I continue, there are links in the description below to everything else that you want to know. The link to the article I wrote about this video, that this video will be embedded in the article itself, and so on. Just the usual stuff, my web shops and so on. Yeah, and like I said, now, okay, but I don't condemn anybody. Like I state in the article, I don't blame people that think like that. Okay, scientists and so on that don't believe in God and don't believe in the ethereal or the spiritual. I don't blame them for thinking that way. I don't blame them for thinking like that, because I understand where they're coming from, and it is complicated, okay? But the answer in short is no, okay? It is true that when it comes to the occult and magic and practicing dealing with spirits and engaging with spirits, that you need to be of a sound mind. You need to condition your mind and regulate your mind in such a way that you are able to do so. But make no mistake, that does not mean that spirits are an invention of your mind or one's mind. No. Okay, and this doesn't just apply to the occult. This applies to practically every person. Every activity in general. Just think about it. Something as simple as driving a car will give you the greatest of issues if you have some kind of deficiency or learning deficiency that makes it so that you're unable to focus or something similar. Just as an example, anything, okay? If you're in school, if you're in class, for example, and if you're still a schoolgoer, or if you're taking or attending a course, and you need to memorize, you need to learn your lessons, of course, and you can so that you can take your exam and so on, and you need to memorize certain passages or certain documents, you need to memorize certain materials. If you've got some kind of issue or some kind of learning deficiency that makes it so that you're not able to do that's going to cause problems, okay? Again, that has to do with your state of mind. So it applies to everything, every mundane thing. Up to a certain extent, it is true that your mental state or your state of mind, as I've already discussed in previous articles, or at least one or two of them that have relation to this topic. I think I'm also going to link them below. I think it's going to be free will that I'm going to link below in this video, as well as another article, one state of mind. Yeah, that's a very recent one. Like I said, it is the case, or it is applicable and safe to say that up to a certain point, okay, or up to a certain extent, that the world you experience, okay, is dependent up to a certain point. Keep that in mind. I'm laying emphasis on this. That up to a certain point, that your state of mind decides what the world looks like. But again, that will only take you so far, okay? That doesn't mean that external forces are not present, and let alone that those external forces are a figment of your imagination, or are basically projections of your own mind. Okay, that's like saying that if you're crossing the street on a busy road, the car coming in front of you is a projection of your own mind because you hate yourself, or that you suffer from self-loathing and your mind is basically trying to kill you, something like that. That is, I think we're starting to, again, if you think like that, then you're really on the wrong track. I don't blame people that think that the occult is that belief in this. Let's just phrase it or call it the psychological magic model, or the psychological model of magic, or within magic. I don't blame people that do so, because there are occult groups and there are magicians out there that genuinely believe this. But again, these magicians, I don't mean this in an offensive way, but these guys are wrong, and not only wrong, they're confused. Okay, it's not the way that works at all. Okay, in the article I also give an example. Okay, an example is, for example, that you're of the opinion that when you're out in the sun, you're outside and the sun is shining, that the heat that you're feeling isn't due to the sun and that the sun doesn't exist, but that your body is simply manifesting heat. Okay, because your body is basically naturally reacting to the sun, okay, or to the illusion or the projection of your mind being basically projecting the sun in the air or in the sky, and then your body automatically reacting to it, and basically you're hardwired to believe, okay, the sun is shining on me, my body's supposed to get warm. If you believe that, then you're dead wrong. Okay, like I just stated okay, a few minutes ago, it is true that up to a certain point in this example that I just gave, that your body is wired up to a certain point or a certain extent to react in the way that it's reacting to sunlight. But that doesn't mean that the sun isn't there. The sun is an independent external force that doesn't care about you or your sensations or experiences. The sun has been there since the, figuratively speaking, beginning of time. The sun doesn't care whether you live or die tomorrow, so to speak. The sun is going to keep shining and keep influencing it, the forces that it under it, the forces that it presides over and that it influences. End of story. So again, that's a perfect example. Within the occult, okay, it is true that you need to be of a sound mind, for example, and that you need to be in a correct state of mind to deal with and engage with spirits, okay? But that is nothing short of normal. I mean, that's nothing short of normal, because you do need that, and it's like not listening to someone. You can choose at any moment not to listen to a physical person that's next to you. That doesn't mean that person isn't there, or that person is not talking to you, or that you are imagining that person. That's the statement that people that believe in the psychological magical model will want you to think, or what they believe. But again, it just shows you, the examples that I've given you just show you how wrong they are. Okay. And like I also state in the article, long before I became an occultist, okay, I had spirits influencing my life, whether I wanted to or not. And not even in a good way, in a really bad way. If it was a good way, then yeah, sure, no problem. But this was in a bad way. And this was not only that was I not an occultist, okay? Ages ago, when I was still a kid, when I was still a child, I just dismissed anything occult-based as superstition. I just thought to myself, anything spiritual is just pure superstition, just mumbo jumbo. I don't believe in any of that. Newsflash, it doesn't matter what you believe. That's like believing that a bullet can't hurt you. That if someone tries to shoot you, a bullet can't hurt you just because you're not familiar with a bullet or the notion of a gun, or that you're not familiar with what guns are. It doesn't matter whether you believe in it or not. It does not matter, okay? It exists as an independent force that can affect you regardless of what you think or believe. That's the whole point. When I work with my patron, short story, when I work with my patron, when I first started working with him, I pissed him off. I legitimately got him angry one of the times, because I started working with another spirit, not as a patron, but I started working with another spirit beside him, and I basically took a task that I appointed my patron to, my guiding deity, and I assigned that task. I basically transferred that task over to the other spirit, and he was angry. And back then, communication wasn't fluent. It's not like I could see and hear him vividly, and he is literally just another person, like in the real world, in the physical world. in the same way that I am now. Back then, I had to rely on divinations like astrology and so on to basically know what he was thinking. Unless he basically, and back then he also used to approach me in dreams every now and then if he really wanted to get a message through to me. But he was pissed, and the reason he was pissed and the way that I knew that he was angry is because I felt the energy all of a sudden, and I started getting an intense stomach ache, and I had to lie down. I almost fainted. And it was only a while after that had happened, that I realized it, I realized it, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's why he was upset that I basically took this task from him and transferred it through to another spirit. On another occasion, after that, I also did the same thing. I told him, listen, I'm not going to, and this was also when he was non-responsive, when I was a beginner, I was a total beginner, okay? This was when I was also, again, like I said, a beginner, and I just went to his altar and I told him, hey, listen, in the oration that I placed on your altar, with the things that I want you to help me with, I'm going to take away one of these points, these key points or these key topics, because I'm not satisfied with results, or I'm not satisfied, I know that that's not your specialty and so on. And that was the first time, I remember that was the first time that I heard him talking to me. All of a sudden I felt, and I just asked him, while I was at his altar, is that okay with you? And all of a sudden I felt my entire body cramping up, okay? I felt anxiety shoot through me, a wave of anxiety. And all of a sudden I heard no, because I want to gain more experience. What you're doing right now is taking away experience from me. I want to gain experience in this matter or endeavor, despite the fact that I'm not adept at it, or that is not my forte or specialty. And that was like, and that was the defining moment for me. That was like, finally, okay. That was basically the first time that my patron spoke to me. And these are just examples that I'm using, okay? I am not relying on anything that the spirits and the guys that I work with are saying. For me, they're literally external forces. My mind could be completely blank. I could do something completely mundane or casual. I could be out on the streets. I could be a mile away from home where their altars are. And they will openly approach me, even when I'm talking to someone else. And they'll openly approach me and just tell me something, for example. Openly, I could literally just watch a movie or something, and all of a sudden, they'll be like, they'll tap me on the shoulder, or all of a sudden just tell me, hey, this and this and that has happened, and so on. The point is that my point is that I've gotten to a point in my current status that for me, engaging with spirits is like engaging with real people. They openly walk around and everything. I can feel them. Even now as I'm talking, I can feel them. Okay, and I can feel my patron. He's standing right beside me with his hand on my shoulder. And my vice patron again, also with his hand on my right shoulder. But they're saying the reason that I'm still speaking fluently, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll notice that I sometimes pause because they're interrupting me. The reason that I'm not pausing in this video, it's a rare occurrence, is because in my videos, is because they're telling me, okay, since 5 minutes ago, he was standing beside me and he told me, okay, we're not gonna bother you right now as you're talking, okay, just continue, just don't pay any attention to us, just don't look at us. That's why I'm not turning my face or everything, I'm not averting my gaze or anything like that. And my patron also shooed away one of the other guys I work with playfully, as in, not right now, he's busy, go away. So yeah, that's just an example again. So that's just to keep in, something to keep in mind, okay? No, spirits are not a figment of your imagination. By that logic, you can state that everything, the entire world and everything is a figment of your imagination, okay? And that is absolutely not the case. Okay, you're basically stating that all countries in the world, all continents, the entirety of human history, the entirety of the world's history, and everything in existence is simply a projection of your own mind. And that's just, wow. I mean, how narcissistic and how self-indulgent do you need to be to believe something like that? Okay, fact of the matter is that there are external forces that rule and preside over us, whether we as people or as entities or as individuals like it or not. Okay, it doesn't matter what we think, it does not matter, end of story. We don't get to decide that, okay? Of course, the way that we think and our state of mind also influences the way that we perceive them, neatly put or neatly phrased, but that does not take away their power and their positions of authority within this entire topic or within the world, specifically the positions of authority that they have over us, or the influence that they potentially have over us, and can basically influence us. That's the simplest way to put it, or the neatest way that I can phrase it. So bottom line is, the answer is no. Okay, spirits are there whether you want them to be or not, and they're influencing you whether you are aware of it or not. And then all of a sudden you'll be asking yourself, why the hell is my life turning to shit? Why is everything going wrong? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? As a magician, I'm aware of the changes that a spirit makes within me. When a spirit is influencing me to do something, if I'm alert, or at least semi-alert or semi-aware, then yeah, my intuition automatically just tells me, hey, an external force. I can feel his energy, for example, or her energy. I can feel that spirit's energy just manifesting through me and telling me, hey, do this, do that, subconsciously, or just pushing me, giving me that nudge. But that's because I'm a magician, okay? As a non-magician, if you're the average person, you have no idea, okay, that you're being influenced, you name it. And again, it's all subject to a bunch of anomalies and a bunch of variables. Nothing in this world is black and white, completely black and white. There are never-ending shades of gray, and this is one of the most complicated topics that you can cover, possibly. And of course, like I just said, it's not all black and white, okay? The spirits will be able to do this, they won't be able to do that, for a number of reasons, an infinite number of reasons, if applicable, or if that is the case. But point is that the simplest way to phrase it is, like I just stated in the article, and like I said previously a numerous amount of times, no. End of story.